Hey, what's up, everybody? It's about that time. I have something exclusive and special for you right here, right now. You guys have have taught me that social media is a world it's a universe all by itself. I have been booked since November of 2021 as it relates to my one-on-one coaching, and I've had people that keep trying to get on, but I can't get people to get off. I can't get people to give up the spot. I have the hardest time getting people to even reschedule so that I can do some other things. Because when people pay in advance, they lock in a particular time and they set their life around that time. And I acquiesce, and I've enjoyed it thoroughly. But I have turned down quite a few people this year as it relates to one-on-one coaching. But I got to tell you, you guys are relentless, and you guys have found a brand new way to get my attention. I have a message via PayPal today. A young sister who's been trying to get one on one coaching with me since November of last year. And I'm just going to read what she posted in the note. Uh, she sent me a contribution via PayPal. And with the contribution, it said, Pastor Troy, I just want to tell you thank you, number one, for all that you do, that I follow you daily, and your words inspire me, encourage me, and have literally kept me out of some dark places. I've been trying to get with you since November of last year for one on one coaching as it relates to relationship coaching, and you have remained to be booked. And I do understand that. So here is a contribution for all that you have done for me. Just my way of saying thank you. And if you find the time or have the time, I would like to ask you a question and at your leisure have you answer it whenever you get a chance. And that's why I'm laughing, because that is one way to get my attention. It's kind of hard not to respond when somebody sends you a message. They invest in you and what you do from a financial perspective to just really add value to what you do and what you have done for them. It speaks volumes. So here I am this evening, going to take a shot at answering this question. It is a wonderful question, one that I have answered many times before. And it seems to be one that really plagues a lot of women. And as you can see, I got the letter right here. I printed it out. Here's what it says: Pastor Troy, I would like your perspective on relationships as it relates to me being a woman who desires a certain kind of man, a godly man, a man who values me as a woman, as a queen, a man who understands his role as a king. And I'm finding myself in situations and relationships where I'm trying to prove to him my value, my worth, and I'm basically trying to prove to him that I deserve to be with him. And that's really what got my attention, because I want to say to her, but I also want to say to every woman that might find themselves in a similar situation, let me bust this down for you. It's not your job or your responsibility or your duty to prove to someone that you deserve them. Let's just start there, ladies. And if you're in a situation where that's what you're doing, you're feeling pressure, you're feeling like that's the task, the agenda, that's what you have to do, is you have to prove to him that you deserve him. Let me tell you something right now. Tap out and walk away, because that type of relationship with those type of dynamics at the beginning are only going to produce more pain for you. My perspective is this: it's up to them, women, and when I say them, I'm talking about men, to realize that they are blessed to have you, and they are blessed to have your love exclusively. Now, I want to separate these two things. We as men must realize that we are blessed to have you, and then we're blessed to have your love exclusively. And then once we recognize that, it's up to us to show you, to demonstrate. I'll do you one better than that. It's up to us to do the work that it takes to align our heart with your heart. And it's just as simple as that. Now, if that's not what you're seeing, then I'm going to go ahead and cut to the chase. You're wasting your time, because the way that God has created men, when we encounter a woman that we desire her, but we also desire her love exclusively. And I keep throwing this word out because I need you to hear it: exclusively. Now, if he's cool with you dating other people, and he wants to be able to date other people, then he doesn't want your love exclusively. And you need to ask yourself, is this really the kind of man that I want? Somebody that's willing to share me, and somebody that's willing to be shared? Because in this world of relationships, there are so many mixed messages. There are so many convoluted ideas that when you encounter somebody, you really need to get a clear understanding of what their ideal of love is. Definitely get a clear understanding of what their understanding of a relationship is, because you might be looking for something that they're not looking for. And oftentimes, this is the case with a lot of women. You are looking for something that he's not looking for. And that's where hearts get broken. That's where time gets wasted. That's where lies are told, because oftentimes people will tell you what you want to hear. People will tell you what you want to hear, women, long enough to bait you and to hold you in the pocket and to get from you what it really is that one wants. One will tell you what you want to hear. And then once they have accomplished the goal and the mission of getting whatever it is that they want, they're generally disinterested or unavailable, don't have time, or they just ghost you and they just disappear. Do I have any women that can relate to this? So I want you to understand that when you are in a relationship, especially in the beginning, pay attention in the beginning. And if you feel like you're having to do all the work to prove to him that you deserve him, walk away, tap out, get out ASAP. Because I'm telling you, if that's the way the relationship starts, you are going to be required to do that in order for the relationship, or whatever you want to call it, to exist and be maintained. Now, how long are you willing to be in a one-sided relationship where you're trying to prove to somebody that you deserve them? No, 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 no. As men, we have to show you that we recognize, that we realize that we're blessed to have you. We have to show you that we recognize and realize that we're blessed to have your love exclusively. You being willing to give a man your love exclusively is one of the greatest gifts in the world, because there is great comfort and confidence in knowing, okay, you are for me, I am for you, there are no others. Now, I want to encourage you as I push this uh, just a little bit further, for the sister that wrote into me and blessed me for what I do. I appreciate that so much, and I want to just spend a few minutes just really clarifying my perspective. And this is what she's asking me for. Now, if you got different perspectives and you do your live and you post your video, this is my perspective as an adult man, 53 years old, having been married 35 years, having dealt with relationships, having dealt with various issues, various dynamics from the male-female relationship perspective. So this is my perspective on what I would suggest someone do if they are in a situation where they feel like they're trying to prove to a man that they deserve him. To me, that even sounds absurd. Even when I say it, every time I say it, it sounds absurd going back into my ears. But this is the world that we're living in now, because things have become convoluted. There was a time where men understood the assignment, and we welcomed the challenge to prove to you, the woman that we were interested in, that we were worthy of having you. That's the way it was. Now the roles have been reversed, and now women feel like they've got to prove to the man that they deserve to have the man. And it's just insane. And I just want to encourage women all over the world, do not allow men to play these Jedi mind tricks with you. Do not allow what seems and feels oftentimes like a scarcity of qualified and available men to cause you to acquiesce to this foolishness. Just let me call it what it is. Because if you acquiesce to this foolishness, what is going to happen, you're going to open up your heart to men who are going to use you and abuse you because they were never really interested in love in the first place. They weren't even able to recognize the value that you were as a human being, let alone the value that you were trying to give them with your love in an exclusive relationship. So it's your job, sisters, queens, to recognize as expeditiously as possible. So I tell people all the time, women, when you're dating a man, and I tell men the same thing, when you're dating a woman, the dating process and the dating procedure is to exchange data, not DNA. And oftentimes we are so quick to exchange DNA that we did not get the data that we will get eventually, that if we had have gotten it earlier before we exchanged DNA, we would have had fewer headaches, we would have had fewer heartbreaks, but we're in such a hurry to exchange DNA that we forget the primary objective in the dating process is to exchange data so that we can go ahead and eliminate you, or continue to entertain you. Oh, I'm teaching good. Let me say that again. Exchange data as quickly as possible so that you can determine whether or not you need to eliminate them or continue to entertain them. And as you continue to entertain them, you continue to collect data. Here's why this is important, because data over time will paint the clearest, truest picture of who you're dealing with. We are great, men and women, at putting our best foot forward, at saying the right thing, smelling good, looking good, talking good. We're good at that coming out of the gate. Now, some people can't even get it right coming out of the gate. But some people know how to finesse that thing. Some people know how to finesse you long enough to undress you. Oh my God. Yeah, this is good. Can I say that again? Some people know how to finesse you long enough until they undress you, which is why I charge women to be on your P's and Q's, to not be manipulated by a culture that says you're at odds and you better take what you can get and you just better settle and you just better be happy. The devil is a lie. Absolutely not. No, because you're not going to be happy just trying to be happy. You're going to wind up being miserable. Why? Because that person doesn't want what you want. And the sooner you can figure that out, the sooner you can move on and at least be available to enjoy life by yourself instead of trying to navigate life with a time waster and a weight in your life that really just wasn't worth your time in the beginning. So I hope this helps you. I'll go a little bit deeper if you don't mind. And I hope this continues to bless you. And then when I'm done, if this blesses you, I'm going to ask you to share this. I'm just dropping some relationship coaching for women, spawned by a sister that wrote to me and said, hey, I'd like to ask you a relationship question. She's been trying to get with me for some one-on-one coaching since November of last year. And I'm just booked solid and I can't take any more clients, but I am going to answer her question. I can't help but answer a question. Come on, she blessed the brother financially, saw what I did as valuable, and went to PayPal and let her money do the talking. So I appreciate that. And this is the least that I can do. And it's a good question that a lot of people can benefit from. So y'all should thank this sister for this one, because yeah, she's the one that's got this one going. Now, I want to encourage you with this thought, ladies. And I just want to put you on game. Not that you don't know game, but sometimes it helps to hear game from a man who knows men and how men think, and a man who understands what's going on in our culture. There will always be people who desire to be with you sexually. And you know this to be true. Any woman out there can find a man who wants to be with them sexually. Every woman can find a man who's willing to be with them sexually. It doesn't matter anything about you. There are men who are willing and ready right now to be with you sexually. What you got to understand though is there always be men who are willing to be with you sexually, but not be with you exclusively. And that's a telltale sign that you need to pay attention to, but you also need to respect it, because there will also be people who desire to be with you sexually, but not be with you permanently. Ooh, man, that's good right there. So you got to watch for those signs. You got to watch for the signs of those men who come into your life with an agenda that is hidden. And as soon as they get what they want, they're gone. And if you're experiencing this over and over and over again, people keep talking about all men are dogs and there are no good men and all men want is sex and all they want to do is just get me in the bed. And if this is your experience over and over again, and when I say experience, I mean, if this is what you're experiencing because this is what you're doing, because you are having sexual relationships with men and then they disappear or ghost you, and you are trying to figure out what's going on, well, here's the solution. You've got to stop allowing them to get you sexually. You can't blame them if you're giving them something that, number one, they were not worthy of. Number two, they did not deserve. Number three, they should have never had access to. You can't blame them if you are giving them the most precious gift you have and they not respect it when you didn't do your due diligence on the front end. And I'm not here to beat you up. I'm not here to beat you down. I'm actually here to equip you and to empower you to recognize and to acknowledge what you see instead of trying to hope that it's something that it's not. And I run into a lot of women who have this destructive desire to see something and then hope that it's something else. No, no, ma'am, no, ma'am, no, ma'am, no, ma'am. Learn to listen, learn to trust your discerning spirit, pay attention to the signs. Because let me tell you something, we all tell the truth on ourselves sooner or later. You just got to listen. You just got to listen. You just got to pay attention. And sooner or later, it comes out. See, women, I want you to understand this, that it's your job really to guard your spirit from temporary minded people. Somebody say temporary minded people. These are the people who will take you sexually, but they won't take you seriously. Godly. That's good. That's good. Can I say that again? It's your job to guide your spirit from temporary minded people who will take you sexually, but they won't take you seriously. And what's a temporary minded person? They don't want anything long term. They don't want anything serious. They just want something that satisfies right now. They just want something sexual, and then they're on to the next one. Or they'll just want you to be, available for those sexual activities, but they aren't talking marriage. They aren't talking an exclusive relationship. They don't want to have any type of discussion about that. Why? Because they will take you sexually, but they don't take you seriously. And you've got to make sure that your guard is up so that if you've fallen for that before, you don't continue to fall for that in the future, because it is very common in the culture that we're in today. And I just also want to throw this in here. Don't fall for someone because they're persistent. I talk to a lot of women in coaching and pastoring who fall for men who are persistent. In other words, they won't take no for an answer. And I'm going to tell you something. Some of the biggest time wasters in the world are the most persistent people you will ever meet. Somebody put that on a t-shirt. Some of the biggest time wasters in the world, hear me ladies, are the most persistent people you will ever meet. And you think, okay, he won't take no for an answer, so it might be something to him because I have told him no 99 times. Honey, tell him no 100 times, because you will perceive persistence, watch this, as potential. Oh, I got to say that again. You will perceive persistence as potential. And you guys forgive me, I am dog tired. So if my commas and periods aren't falling in the right place, it's been a long day for me, but I wanted to get this out before my next coaching call. I wanted to get this out because I thought it was a great question. Don't, please, sisters, please, queens, do not interpret persistence as potential. No, because let me tell you something. They'll be persistent until you fall for their lies and they get what they were after all along. And just because they won't take no for an answer doesn't mean that you should let them take you for a test drive. Yeah, I'm gonna say it again. Just because they won't take no for an answer does not mean you should let them take you for a test drive. Ladies, do not let these men wear you down. Do not let these men wear you down with their persistence. And then you start to think, well, it might be something to him because he just won't go away. Let me tell you something. Have you ever been in a room with a fly that wouldn't go away? Have you ever been in a room with a gnat or a mosquito that just wouldn't go away? Sure, you have. Not one time have you ever thought to yourself, you know what? That fly, that gnat, or that mosquito might not be a fly, might not be a gnat. It might not be a mosquito because it's so persistent. That mosquito, that gnat, that fly might be a butterfly. I'm going to give it a chance. You have never said that in your life because when you saw the fly, you recognize that's a fly. When you saw the mosquito, you recognize that's a mosquito. And you didn't let the fact that it kept buzzing around your ears. Come on, somebody. You didn't let the fact that it kept buzzing by your head make you change your analysis of what it was. And far too many women have made this fatal mistake because a brother was persistent and they start thinking, oh, it might be some potential. And every one of these women would tell you that they were wrong, that he was the fly that she thought he was. He was the blood-sucking mosquito she thought he was, and she should have never, ever allowed his persistence to be translated into potential. Now, I'll give you one more, and then I'm going to go. Be careful, sisters, queens, of men who think they are kings, but they're not. Let me say that again. I'm downshifting because I want you to catch this. Be careful of men who think in their minds that they are kings, but they are not. And here's what I know. You can always tell that they're not kings. You can always tell that they're not alpha males because some guys think in their head they're alpha males. They think they're alpha males. They think they're kings. But the truth of the matter is they're not. And I'm going to bless you ladies with a gift. I want to give you a gift. How you can always tell whether or not a man is an alpha male or whether or not a man is a king. I'm going to give you this, and this is going to bless your life. All you have to do, queen, is speak the language of a king to him and watch how confused and befuddled he becomes. Now, there's some brothers going to hate me for this. They're not going to like me for this one. But come on, we need to just tell it like it is. Just speak the language of a king to him and watch the language that comes out of him in response to the language of a king being spoken to him. See, these are the kind of men who need you to dim your light so they can shine bright. And most of you women have encountered a man like that. That's why they tell you you're too strong, you're too confident, you're too headstrong, you got too much mouth, you talk too much, and they want you to dim your light so they can shine bright. Well, that's not a king, sis. That's not a king, and that's not an alpha male. One thing I know about a king and an alpha male, he doesn't want you to dim your light. He wants you to turn your light up as bright as it can possibly be. That is the true nature of a real king. That's the true nature of a real alpha male. We are not intimidated by the brightness of your light, sister. We are not intimidated by the brightness of your light, queen. Why? Because your light shining bright just adds more light to my light shining bright. So pay attention to men who require, desire, or demand that you dim your light so they can shine bright. These are the same guys that need you to agree with everything they say so they don't feel challenged or threatened. Can I get some hearts or some likes if I'm telling the truth on this thing? How many of you sisters have ever encountered a brother who needed, demanded, required you to agree with everything he said so that he didn't feel challenged and he didn't feel threatened by your opinion? That's not a king. That is definitely not an alpha male, because an alpha male is not bothered by your thoughts. I have been married to Letitia Wynn for almost 35 years. And let me tell you something, that sister challenges me. She challenges my thinking. She challenges my ideology. She challenges my perspective, and I love it. Now, she doesn't challenge it in a way that diminishes me as a king. She doesn't challenge it in a way that makes me unsure or uncertain. No, she bounces different perspectives and different angles off of me to see how I volley, how I respond, how I might consider a different angle. And if I am able to stand solid and stable on what I believe theoretically. See, the Bible says it this way, and I'm not trying to hit y'all with a whole bunch of scriptures, but I got to throw this out here. The Bible says that iron sharpens iron. So if a man is really an alpha male, that's iron, and a man is really a king, that's iron, then you being strong, you being successful, yeah, you having knowledge and understanding of a variety of subjects, you being confident, you being vocal does not bother him, but it makes him a better king and it makes him a better alpha male. And when you see this lacking, let me tell you something. You can't train it in him. You can't teach it to him. I'm just going to be honest with you. You got to be willing to say, you know what? Thank you, but no thank you. I've seen enough. Konnichiwa, arigato, Feliz Navidad. I'm good. And some of you wish you might have heard something like this early in life in hopes to have maybe been able to avoid some of the pain and the pitfalls. But it's never too late to learn. And I share this with you because you can share this with other young sisters and other sisters who are in your circle. This kind of knowledge needs to be shared so that you can recognize a king when you see one, recognize an alpha male when you see one, and not be bamboozled by false advertisement. These are the same kind of guys that need you to be something that you are not. Please hear this, queens. They need you to be something that they are not to match something they are not. Ooh, God, that's good. I got to say it again. You know, if it's good, I got to say it twice. They need you to be something you are not to match something they are not. When you see that, get out, because you cannot live your life and you cannot exist in a healthy relationship being something that you are not with somebody who's something that they are not. That's way too much fakery in the bakery. You deserve better. And because you deserve better, I want to encourage you. Don't waste time with time wasters. This ideology that somebody is better than nobody is absolutely foolishness. And sisters need to stand up and say it's foolishness, because some of you have bought that lie and you suffer now. You have bad memories, you have nightmares, you have experiences that you wish you could erase and eradicate. Why? Because you bought into the lie, hey, somebody's better than nobody. No, absolutely not. No, sometimes nobody is better than nobody. So the truth is this: because you're made in God's image, and I want to help you understand why some of you are struggling to settle. And I know you're out there. I know that some of you desire an equal mate. You desire a spouse. You desire a king to go with you being a queen. You desire an alpha male to go with you being an alpha female. And some of you have tried to settle. I know you're out there. Some of you have tried to acquiesce. Some of you tried Pookie and Ray Ray and them, and you tried to give them a chance, and you thought you could cultivate them and give them some class, and you thought you could bring them up to another level, and that didn't work, did it? No, it didn't work, because you can't make anybody be something they don't want to be. Let me say that again. You can't make somebody be something they don't want to be, which is why sisters have got to stop having babies by men who don't want to be fathers. Woo. Lord, this has turned into more than I wanted it to be. I was going to hit this thing quick and get off of here. I got to go, guys, but you got to hear me, ladies. Love yourself enough to get the data before you exchange DNA, so that you don't wind up having a baby with a man who never had an interest in being a father, let alone being a husband. Good God Almighty. The truth is, because you're made in God's image, your mind, teach Pastor Troy, your body and your soul desires and requires goddess treatment. Woo, y'all should thank this sister. She's bringing it out. Your soul, your body, and your mind desires and requires goddess treatment. Check this out. Not godless treatment. Now, some sisters have managed to sell out and settle. Some sisters have managed to accept lesser than. But for those of you that can't, keep the faith. For those of you that refuse to, be strong, because God has made you in his image and his likeness. There is something in you that knows that you're supposed to be treated like a goddess. There's something in you that knows you're supposed to be treated like a queen. There's something in you that knows that the right man with the right understanding will look at you and recognize he has won the lottery, and he will be honored to have you in his presence. He will be honored to have you bear his last name. He will be honored to have you birth his children. He will be honored to call you his wife. He will be honored to showcase you publicly. Why? Because he's a king, and a king can recognize a queen. An alpha male can recognize an alpha female, and you will never really be able to settle for less than you deserve, not without pain. Let me be honest. You can do it. Sure, you can do anything, but you won't be able to do it without pain. You won't be able to do it without some sleepless nights. You won't be able, catch this, you won't be able to do it without constantly asking yourself, what am I doing? And some of y'all need to say amen or hooty hoot, because you know I am telling the truth and talking about you. You've been in relationships, and the whole time you was asking yourself silently, what in the world am I doing? What am I doing with this? Why am I with this? Why? What am I doing? And you know you've been there. That's because your mind, your body, and soul desire and require goddess treatment, not godless treatment. Goddess love, not godless love. And sometimes you don't even know what it is. But now you know. Now you know why you can't settle. Even though there are a multitude of men that want you sexually, but they don't take you seriously. Now you recognize why you aren't willing to just let any and everybody be in your presence or be between your legs. Now you know why. Because your mind, your body, and your soul, it desires and requires goddess treatment and goddess love, not godless treatment and not godless love. And I'm going to have to put a pin in it because I got a coaching call that I got to catch here in a few minutes. I hope that this has been a blessing to women. Sister wrote to me, left a note on PayPal that said, Pastor, I would love your opinion and your perspective for women dating today. And this is my opinion and perspective. You don't have to like it. You don't have to agree with it. She asked me, I responded. But I got a feeling that some of you are going to appreciate this. If you do, share it with your fellow sisters. And listen, feel free to go to my PayPal and support. I keep telling y'all got to learn to support the things that bless you in this world. Put a value on things that help you. Show yourself to be a good steward. The link will be available. Click it. Bless a brother. I would appreciate it. You guys have a blessed night. And remember what I've shared with you and apply it to your life. Somebody who loves you, somebody who values you, somebody who recognizes that you are the gift to them is going to give you that goddess treatment. They're going to give you that goddess love, and they will never ask you to dim your light. Why? Because they're not intimidated by how bright you shine. You guys have a blessed night, a blessed evening. Be sure to share and make sure you support. God bless.